Yeah, whatever. Come on, keep bringing all those bad comments. I want them all. $45 million at 25. Keep hating. Haney gonna get destroyed. Haney gonna get destroyed. Destroyed. Guaranteed. Haney gonna get destroyed. He gonna get destroyed. Guaranteed.
Ryan Garcia update on the PED adverse findings per the WBC. WBC put out this, basically an update press release. It says Ryan Garcia's adverse findings, WBC results management process update. As it has been widely publicized around the world, the contents of Ryan Garcia's A and B sample containers collected on April 19th and 20th yielded adverse analytical findings for ostarine. Ostarine is a selective androgen receptor modulator, a SARM. Ostarine and all SARMs are banned at all times under the WBC clean boxing program. Upon receiving the notification of the adverse finding, the WBC immediately started its results management process under the governing WBC's testing. They cited it. Under the process, the WBC notified Mr. Ryan Garcia of the adverse findings, providing him with the information about his right to witness the opening of the B sample, which we know he did. He had representation, and have the contents of the B sample container tested. B sample containers yielded adverse analytical findings for ostarine. So far, nothing new that we already didn't know. In addition, the WBC's results management unit notification of Mr. Ryan Garcia requested available information and or documents to assist the unit's determination of the circumstances leading or reasonably related to the adverse findings. The WBC results management unit anticipates receiving the available information requested towards the end of June. In the meantime, the WBC has continued to investigate the pharmaceutical and pharmacological characteristics of ostarine, the details of the test, results that led to the adverse findings, and any other explanation that might relate to the adverse findings. The WBC will continue to provide updates of this process in its undertaking as additional information becomes available. Now, that was a whole lot of nothing, in my opinion. Nothing that we didn't know. So the first two paragraphs, the fact that Ryan failed A and B sample, that's public knowledge. And if you're a boxing fan, it's common knowledge. So that really didn't even talk about anything. The first 2 pages, just telling you what a SARM is, telling you he failed his A and B test, and it's telling you that the WBC gave Ryan his, Miranda rights, if you will, in their process to try to exonerate or clarify why this is in his system. So the first 2 pages or paragraphs don't really say anything, and neither does the third paragraph. This is the only thing that's interesting to me. The 4th paragraph, it says, in the meantime, the WBC has continued to investigate the pharmaceutical characteristics of ostarine, the details of the test results, so that's nothing new, that led to the adverse finding, and any other explanation that might relate to the adverse findings. So basically, we're willing to hear Ryan Garcia's side. Now, to me, this whole thing is dragging on and it's annoying. The fight happened April 20th and we're still in investigation mode. But I don't know if this sounds good, and I don't even really understand it, to be honest. Here's why. Devin Haney is the WBC champion, true. Devin Haney didn't lose his belt even though he lost to Ryan Garcia, true. Devin Haney, it still shows a loss. It hasn't been overturned. The commission is doing a separate investigation. What I don't understand, Boxing Ego, is why is the WBC, this wasn't even really a WBC fight. Ryan forfeited the ability to even win a title by missing weight over 3 pounds, 3.2 pounds. Then they renegotiated the new terms, went forth with the fight. Devin got punished. The rest is history. Then after a couple weeks later, Ryan tested positive for Osterine. So if the commission this is one thing I want you guys to understand. The commission, New York State Athletic Commission, they're running their own investigation, trying to get to the bottom of it. This is saying that the WBC is doing their own secondary investigation. They did an update that doesn't really update us on anything. And they're basically saying that Ryan has due process, which I told you guys from the beginning, and he has an opportunity to explain these adverse findings, which if you're Devin Haney, this should be a little bit concerning, because the Haneyacks, they all say Ryan cheated, he cheated, cheating is cheating. And this update doesn't really say anything about a punishment. It doesn't say, it says we're still in the process of looking and basically waiting for Ryan to give his side, and there's no real updates. So I think that should be concerning for the WBC champion, Devin Haney, and the Haneyacks. Because again, I don't even understand why the WBC is investigating if the commission is investigating. I guess because it was under VADA and the clean boxing program that he failed. So there's two investigations, but I think the bigger one would be whatever the commission decides, I would imagine, because a WBC, they're not in charge of all boxing. So at best, what do? Say you're not eligible to fight for one of our titles, you know, versus the commission. If the commission in New York, you know, has some kind of lengthy ban, which I don't believe, but we'll see what happens. If that were to happen, then that could affect Ryan's boxing career, because that would likely be honored by the California State Athletic Commission, Nevada, and anywhere in the US. They would probably uphold the New York's suspension if he's suspended, which he probably will be suspended. It's just a matter of how long at this point. But here's the kicker too, is Ryan is his legal team, and he got some of the best people in the business. He got an attorney that worked with John Jones, that worked with Sean O'Malley, who's now a UFC bantamweight champion. Sean O'Malley tested positive for the same exact thing as Ryan Garcia, Osterine. So the bad thing for Devin Haney is it's been weeks and we haven't heard anything about like a strict punishment for Ryan or anything like that. And Ryan has got some good legal counsel, I will say that. And he said he sent this to a WADA accredited lab, and if they show the proof of that, and then they said it tested positive for contamination of Osterine, even though the company is angry and suggesting that something was tampered, Ryan Garcia, it still doesn't change. What I think people don't realize is Ryan could still, I'm not going to say beat the case, because he will receive some type of suspension and disciplinary action, but he could be granted leniency, because if he sent it to the WADA accredited lab and they said his supplement tested positive for Osterine, and then he's playing dumb and saying he didn't know that it was in the Osterine and somebody gave him the Osterine and somebody spiked it, then depending on what the commission rules, of course, they might look at that as you didn't intentionally ingest, because people don't understand how this works, I can assure you. Osterine is in Ryan Garcia's system. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. On said dates, April 19th, April 20th, it was in his system. That's cut and dry. There's no debate. There's no one from Team Ryan Garcia. There's no one from WBC or the commission that is saying otherwise. It was in his system. So we move on. Now you have to decipher why it was in his system, what caused it. And depending on the severity, that's going to determine the punishment. It's no different than the court of law. If somebody gets shot and killed, right? The person is no longer here because they got shot and it was fatal. That goes without saying. But if you get a self-defense, if you have a case and you're like, oh, this was self-defense, that's going to be different than first-degree murder in the first, right? Or a second-degree murder. All of these have different charges. So I give you guys these analogies because as I see it, that's where we're at with it. Ryan, does he get a first-degree murder charge? Does he get second degree? Does he get manslaughter, et cetera, et cetera? That's the only thing we're waiting for with this investigation. And from the sounds of the WBC, this doesn't sound that condemning to Ryan Garcia. It doesn't sound like, you know, they're like, hey, he has due process and he had the A and B sample. So people are just pushing paperwork. It's not really an update. And I haven't heard anything super damaging. So Ryan Garcia, him having a legal counsel to go through these steps, you have to understand, whether you believe it or not, his legal counsel is going through the steps to try to rectify this situation. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. And when I'm saying it, they're blaming me. I didn't fail a drug test, first of all. I don't do drugs. So you can test me. I'm cleared. I'm fully cleared to say what I'm saying because I know what I'm saying. And I'm sober. I don't do drugs. So this don't have nothing to do with me. People think I'm condoning it. I'm telling you how the process works. Again, I'm not the commission. I could be wrong, but I could also be real right.